Okay, so I'm going to start by just kind of introducing a color wheel as we talk about mixing. So all the colors of the rainbow you probably know. So there's my red. I'm just going to go ahead and just go do. Oh, that's a pretty red. Now I'm using acrylic paint, but I'm putting this under the acrylic and tempera paint section because this kind of stuff will work for either. Okay, here is my orange. So now color mixing is a really good thing to know about because even if you don't want to be a painter, even if you don't want to work with paints or anything like that, I mean, throughout life, these are good things to know about. For instance, maybe you are going to go and be a hairdresser. Color theory is stuff you need to know about when you're mixing your colors for your hair. Or maybe you want to be a home designer and you're mixing colors, making custom colors at Home Depot for your walls, you know? So knowing how colors work is super important. All right, let me get a blue. Now mine is obviously not a perfect circle. I'm trying to fit on the screen. And then lastly, we will do purple. Okay, so here are my colors on the color wheel. I've got my red, I've got my orange, yellow, typical rainbow stuff, right? Now, the first vocab word, kind of buzzword I want to teach you about are primary colors. All right, your primary colors are the colors you can't get by mixing any other colors, okay? Those are going to be your red and your blue and your yellow. If you are wanting to do an orange, you actually can mix red and yellow together to make your orange. All right, these two mix together. So let me show you how that works. Now, whenever you're mixing, the darker color is going to be more dominant. So I'm going to put my red here, but I'm only going to use a tiny bit of red. And I'm going to use a lot of my yellow. It's lighter, so it's not as powerful. It's not as strong. So I'm going to use more yellow than the red to get my orange. Now, it's not going to be the perfect orange that comes out of the orange bottle. I might have to play around with it a little. And I have a little bit of blue mixed in, but it's pretty close. My orange and my yellow mixed together. To get my green, I can mix yellow and blue to get green. So I'm gonna get a blue. Again, what do you think is a more powerful color here? Do you think blue is gonna be stronger or yellow? I would think that blue is stronger. So I'm gonna use a tiny bit of blue. And again, more yellow. La 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 la. And as you mix, here comes my green. Look at how powerful that blue is. Look how dark it's turning out. So if I wanted it to be a lighter green that's closer to this, I would need to add more yellow to it. Maybe even a little bit of white. All right, my last color combination. So what I'm doing right now is I'm mixing these primary colors to make a secondary color. Blue and yellow are primary, you make a secondary. So red and blue are my last two primaries, and they are gonna make this last secondary color. So red and blue are pretty even, but again, blue is a little bit more powerful. But I'm gonna do this a little more even than I would have done these two. start getting my purple. It's a little blue heavy. I might mix a little more red in. And again, it's a little dark, so I might add a little bit of white. If you ever need to make a color lighter, you would add white, and if you want to make it darker, you can always add black. So, to sum up so far, we've got primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. Secondary colors are purple, green, and orange. Now, when we are wanting to kind of dim some of these colors down. So nowadays, a lot of times in someone's home, I really love bright colors and things like that. But sometimes we like a little bit more muted colors. If you want a color to be a little more muted, not as vibrant as when it comes out of the tube of the paint, you guys can mix complementary colors. Complementary colors are across each other from the color wheel. So purple and yellow, blue and orange, and red and green. Now you can remember those if you're ever like, oh, what's that complementary color again of blue? Think about sports teams. There's a lot of sports teams that use blue and orange together because side by side, they're the most vibrant contrast. But then when you start mixing them together, they start to kind of get grayed out because they have the exact opposite tints. And then purple and yellow, think like LSU or Lakers, right? Side by side, they're really vibrant and awesome. But then when you mix, they start to get a little bit more grayed and muted. Red and green, you can think like Christmas colors, the colors that are used for Christmas a lot with decorations. Vibrant together, they're super like bright and contrasty, but then when you blend them, they can start graying out. So let me show you a little bit with blue. So say I was wanting to paint a sky, right? And I'm going to use a lighter blue for this. So say I mix my blue, maybe I want it to be lighter than this. So let's pretend I had my dark blue and I mixed it with a little bit of white. I'm cheating and I have a lighter blue with me, but let's pretend that I mixed my blue and white together and it's this nice, vibrant blue. Maybe I'll make it a little darker. But I want it to be a little grayed out. I want it to be a little more dull. Maybe the sky is kind of cloudy. Maybe there's some rain going on. And I'm wanting it to not be as from the bottle, vibrant paint. So I'm going to mix a little bit of its complementary color. Blue's complementary color is orange. So I'm just gonna actually take a little bit of this orange from here and I'm going to mix it out, okay? And this is going to dull that blue down. Look at how it turns a little bit more gray. It's a more muted blue now. It's still blue, it's still gorgeous. Actually, this is a gorgeous shade of blue, but it's muted. It's not as like screaming at you. Does that make sense? And then let's pretend I wanted to make it a little bit lighter. Let me show you what happens when we add our white. This one's actually almost running out. I might be out of white, guys. Here we go. And I can lighten it up because white makes everything a little bit lighter. Ooh, I actually really love that color. That is so pretty. I might use that for a sky soon. So then let's take it with another one. I'm trying to just clean off my brush now. Let's say we wanted to paint these gorgeous purple flowers. But again, we did not want our purple to be as vibrant. We want this nice muted flower. Maybe it'll look good on a wall in a home, and we don't want the flower screaming at us. Now, there's nothing wrong with vibrant, bright colors. I love vibrant, bright colors. But when you're wanting things to be a little more realistic, sometimes muting them is nice. I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow. And I'm going to mix it here with my purple. And it's actually probably going to turn out a little muted like this. Ooh, but kind of warmer. Look at that. Gorgeous. I just used another vocab word. I said it's going to be a little bit warmer than this because we have warm colors on this half and cool colors on this half. So warm colors and cool colors are also something to think about when you're mixing together. If I wanted like this purple turned a little bit warmer than these purples over here because I had mixed in a warm color. Warm colors are the ones that you think of like fire or sunsets, red, orange, and yellows. And cool colors are the tones that are more like water and ice, purple, blues, and greens. Now this is kind of a warm green, but green can be cooler. So you want to think about that. Now again, let's take an instance. Maybe we want to make a color darker. So maybe I have this green here and I really like this green, but I want to make like a fir, a Douglas fir, or some kind of like pine tree. And so I need my green to be a lot darker than this. First off, I could add a little bit of blue to make this a little bit bluer, but then I also can add a little bit of black, because just like how white makes things lighter, when you mix with black, it makes things a little bit darker. So now, this is a super powerful color. Just like how red was darker than yellow, so you need to use a lot more yellow than red, just a tiny little bit of red. Same kind of thing here. This will overpower. So I'm not gonna just squirt a bunch of black. I just want it to be a tiny bit darker, so I'm just gonna use the tiniest little bit of black. Actually, that might be too much, so I'm gonna put it right here. And just take a little bit and mix it in. Ooh, some of that purple's coming over too. I like this. Take a little bit more. And now I've got this nice darker green ready to go if I was going to be doing like a pine tree in my landscape or something. Right? So I just wanted to do, this is such a short little video. It's getting a little bit longer than I was wanting. I just wanted to give you some basic tips on what to think about when you're mixing colors, okay? Primary colors, you have your red, blue, and yellow. You can be mixing them together to get these shades. If you want, for instance, like a lime green, that's right in here. You'll just still mix green and yellow, but add a little bit more yellow. So if you want a blue and green mix, you can get this kind of teal turquoise right here. You can get kind of a bluish purple, maybe mix some yellow, get some lavender. So think about the color wheel when you are mixing colors. Now my color wheel is not gorgeous. I just slapped some stuff on a canvas, but this is your visual, all right? When you're mixing across from the color wheel, things will get muddy and gray and kind of darker, especially if you mix them completely together. You end up with like a gray-brown. But you can use a tiny little bit and just dull the colors down a little to get the right shade you want. And then also colors that mix really well together that are next to each other on the color wheel. So to get these nice turquoise, or here, let me show you what that looks like. Let me do a turquoise for you. I already have my green. Actually here, I'll just show you what this is. When I mix a little bit of green to my blue, and you get this nice little teal, turquoise, blue-green. All right, so colors next to each other blend really, really nicely. And then when you're blending across from the color wheel, just do a tiny bit at a time. When you add white, it makes things lighter. When you add black, it makes things darker. And always remember, the darker the color, the more powerful when you're mixing. And you can, by just using actually these three colors, red, blue, and yellow, and white and black, you can make whatever shade you want of anything, which is super fun. So now what I'm gonna do with this canvas, I'm actually gonna just start spreading this out, because another fun little tip, I hate painting on white canvases, and that's a personal preference for me as an artist. I like painting on a canvas that already has colors on it, and then I just layer on top of it a lot. So this actually is gonna work out, because I can just blend this right in. And then now I'll have a canvas that's ready to go to start doing my fun skies. Because oftentimes, look, this canvas started with a bunch of purple. Whoopsie. And I'm slowly blending on top to make a sky. And as I layer, eventually, it'll turn out a sky. So that's one thing I like to do. I'll make a video about how to do that soon. But I always like to start without a white canvas. So I'm just going to blend this out. And hopefully this video helped you understand color theory just a tiny bit better.